My name is Sun with AVer Information, and I know in the past webinars I always go over like a brief overview of our entire panel and the functions and how to use it. But a lot of viewers have been asking me, how to get started or how to set up the panel from scratch, out of the box experience. So this webinar covers that. It's a kind of a quicker webinar that kind of goes over the hardware connections, how to set up and use the panel in 3 different ways, either with the OPS, which is the optional computer, which I'll show the installation of, or how to connect an external device such as a laptop or Chromebook. So I'll go ahead and show that as well. And then last but not least, the embedded Android system, which is the easiest to use because you don't need to install anything. It comes preloaded onto your panel already. So first part I'll go over is the OPS actually. So if you actually purchase our panel and you've bought one of our OPSs, it's actually this thing right here. So it's kind of like a small little box, as you can see, little kind of like a cartridge. And it's got a couple different connections in the back over here. I'll go ahead and show everyone the type of connections you got over here. So you got like HDMI, USB 3.0, RJ45 ports, audio jacks, and VGA and HDMI. And we also have included Wi-Fi dongle when you purchase the panel, so you can connect the panel with Wi-Fi or use it for your OPS. And now we're going to go ahead and go to the back of the panel where I actually have all the different connections. And I'm going to switch my camera view so you can all follow along and see for yourself. I know in the guided tour I highlighted all that stuff, and that's the video I just actually finished recently. And so I'll be sending that video out to all of y'all so you can use it for reference. Let me get my light set up here so you can all see, and change my camera view. All right, here I got my second camera. I hope I don't have a stabilizer, but I hope you guys can, I hope to make it as clear as possible so it's not so shaky. I know this is my first time doing this type of style webinar where I'm doing an interactive camera instead of using my standard PTZ camera. So I got my OPS here, and you see this little kind of slot right here, and we're just going to be sliding this into there. So first step upon installation of the OPS, don't turn the panel on yet, just have the OPS and slide it in place just like that. And typically you'll have some type of thumb screws securing this one right here and this bottom one right here, but I'm going to skip that for now. And so once you turn the panel on, the OPS will automatically turn on as well. While we're here, I'll go over and show you guys all the different connections. So this is my OPS. This is RS232 in and out ports. Now these are touch USB ports. We give you 4 sets over here in the back, and there's 1 in the front as well. So this is when you want to connect external devices to your panel. So I already have 1 connected to my touch USB 1. Then on the bottom here, I got my older composite cables, USB 3.0 cable, 3.0 ports for the panel, a USB 2.0 port, and here you can see that I have a little Wi-Fi dongle, and this is the Wi-Fi dongle that's included with your purchase. So if you want to use Wi-Fi with your panel, you go ahead and just plug this little one in right here. And I will go over all the different Wi-Fi settings as well. And here's an audio jack, 2 different ones. And now on the very underside of the port, I hope you guys can see this. Let me try to adjust the lighting so you can see better, get a clear view of it. So basically we have 4 different sets of HDMI ports, 1 HDMI out port, and that's basically a pass-through for the HDMI 1. So if you want to mirror different HDMI displays, you can plug one into HDMI 1 here, and the other HDMI out, and plug that into like another panel or another type of display. Then I got my LAN port for my internet, so I'm actually using a hardwire. And then I got older displays such as VGA, and I got some PC and audio ports. And that pretty much covers the back connections of the panel. And as you can see here, I have one HDMI device plugged in here, as well as that touch USB. So that's actually my laptop that's plugged in to the panel. And now I'm just going to go ahead and turn on the panel and show you all the different ways we can connect. So give me a second here. So here I'm back at my original regular view. And time to turn on this panel. So different ways to turn on the panel. There's a power button right here, or I can use the included remote that is given to everyone. So turn this thing on, and the first one we're going to go to is the OPS that I just installed actually. If you guys have any questions during this webinar, go ahead and type it in the chat, and by the end of it, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have for me. So just give this a little moment as it boots up. And here it's finally booted up. And this is the embedded Android operating system. But first but not least, let's go to the OPS by changing the source. So 3 different ways to do this. As I noted in the guided tour, you can either use and press the source button on the remote right here, this button right here. So I press that, it'll change the source of it. Or I can press this source button and pan through the different sources I have. And the last one is pressing these arrow buttons, the left or right one. So these are both the same. I can press on either of these buttons. And then pressing this top button right here, which is the source shortcut. Let me zoom in there. And when I press this, then it'll pop up all the different connections you have. So look, you got the 4 different HDMI inputs. You got one for the front, which is, I call that HDMI 0 or the front port, and then all these older ones. And here is the OPS, and we will select the OPS and go into there. So I have Windows 10 preloaded onto this OPS, and Windows 10 works absolutely great with the panel because it supports the multi-touch. And once I'm in here, I can go ahead and run different applications, such as my Maps app that I like to demo a lot. So I can go ahead and go to Maps, and I can show you guys where I actually am right now. So here we're in the Bay Area. Make sure you guys can see this properly. Then zoom in right here. And then if I want to use the panel's overlay Android features, I just go ahead and press the arrow button and press on this bottom one right here. And now I'm able to do my overlay annotations from my panel, no matter what source I'm viewing. And now I can press save to either save on the local hard drive of the panel or onto a USB drive. So I'm actually in Fremont, South Fremont. Actually, this is where our building office headquarters is. Just south of San Francisco, about an hour. And here is our little building, or actually quite a big building right here in South Fremont. So that's OPS, Windows 10, multi-touch, getting it started, getting set up. That's how you use it. As simple as that. Sliding in a Nintendo cartridge in the back, turning on the panel, and just works just like that. The second piece I'd like to go over is connecting external devices, such as laptop, Chromebook, teach your computer. And this is also extremely easy as well. So I will show you the front port first. So that's the first set of hardware connections you have in the very front. And you just need 2 cables to plug into the panel to use this. And these are all included in the packaging, so you don't need to worry about purchasing more cables. But basically, you just need 1 HDMI cable and 1 USB Type-B cable. So 1 HDMI in the front, right here, for the source. And for the interactive portion, 1 of these USB Type-B cables to enable the touch function of your device. And that's really all you need to do. 2 cables to plug into the panel in order to use. Now let's get a Chromebook out so I can show you a real life example of me actually plugging a laptop into here. So first one I want to do is plug the ends in to my Chromebook. So here I have an AVer Chromebook. Got my trusty AVer Chromebook here. I'm going to plug this into one of the USB ports, and the other end, HDMI. Plug it into the HDMI here. Now I'm going to open and turn this thing on. And for this case, I'm going to actually plug this into one of my back ports. So let's plug this into one of the back sets, so you guys can get an idea of, how to install and how to use devices. So here I got my secondary camera again. Excuse the little shakiness if I'm a little wobbly. First one I want to plug in is the HDMI port. So I'm going to plug it into the HDMI 2 port, the second connection right here. So I got that one in. And the second one, I want to do touch USB 2. So you got to make sure you pair the HDMI with the right corresponding touch port. So they're all labeled and numbered, number 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got to make sure it's matching like that. So once that's plugged in, I'll go ahead and switch back to my other camera. And now we are going to switch the source to this laptop. So we're going to go press these arrow buttons again, press the source button, and now we're going to press on 2 because that's the second set we just connected to. And voila, as you can see right there, it's actually showing the Chromebook that I just connected. And if I zoom in, you can see that it's perfectly mirroring the Chromebook device on here. And then I can even use my finger and now interact with the panel. And you can see how it's working. And I can browse through and touch the browser and interact with the Chromebook using the panel itself. So this is how you would connect a teacher's device, laptop, Mac, or any other device to your panel to interact with it. So it's that easy, and you have 5 complete different ports and sets to do this with. So you can have 5 different devices connected to this at the same time. You don't need to unplug or replug stuff. You can have it all set up in the back, and then all you need to do is just press the arrow button and press the source button to change between the different sources you want to view. So it's kind of a very convenient way to switch between different devices. So I'm going to go ahead and close that since we're done with that. Last but not least is our Android OS embedded. So this is the most straightforward thing ever. You turn on the panel, plug it in, you plug it in, turn it on, and you're basically in Android already. It's preloaded, preset, and I'll kind of go over just a couple of quick getting started features and shortcuts. So it's just like any other Android system if you're familiar with it. And if you want to add, little desktop widgets to the desktop, all you need to do is click and hold or press and hold on one of these widgets and then move it to wherever you like. So here I have Khan Academy that I just added to the board right here. And if I want to remove or edit some icons, see I have like 2 browsers here, I want to delete one. I press and hold and move it to the remove section. And that's how you remove it that easily. If I want to change the background or go through the different desktops I have, all you do is press and hold. So it's always like a press and hold. And now I can pan between the different desktops I have. If I want to change the wallpaper, I go ahead and press on wallpapers on the bottom. And here I have a ton of different backgrounds to choose. I can do like a live wallpaper, which is like a live type of animation right here like this. So this is like the kind of asteroid or galaxy one. So if I set this, it'll go ahead and move like that, which is a pretty cool thing. Kind of neat. But if I want to go back to the original one that I was using, go ahead and press that and just set wallpaper, just like that. Very simple, very easy to use. Let's see. Last but not least, I kind of want to go over the wireless document integration, or F70W. So if you are familiar with our document cameras, we have one that's completely wireless and works seamlessly with our panel. And if you want to set this thing up, it's actually not hard at all. So the very first step is connecting this document camera to the same network that your panel is on. And to do this, you're going to need an HDMI cable, just the HDMI cable. You don't need the touch cable. So this time I'm going to plug the HDMI cable into the front. So I plug one cable into the HDMI out port of the F70W, and I plug the other end into this front HDMI port. And we're going to go ahead and change to the HDMI 0 output so that I can see my document camera here. So here I have a wired right now, but you only need to do this for the initial setup to get the camera connected to your network. And so once I'm on here, I go ahead and press menu on the camera. And let's zoom in here so you can get a better look. And now we're going to go press right 3 times actually, to go into Wi-Fi settings. And this is where you go to that Wi-Fi setup. And you go press Wi-Fi setup. So it's going to load real quick. And then here you basically choose your SSID, your network name, and enter your password and press connect. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to my network, and you got to make sure the panel is going to be on the same network, and I'll go over that setup as well after I connect the F70W. So the lights on the F70W is going to blink orange as it's connecting for a little bit, and then eventually it's going to be solid blue once finished. So now it's done, it's connected. I don't need to have it connected to the panel anymore. I can unplug it from the HDMI cable. So I'll unplug it now. Now I'll go back to the Android OS. And here I'll go into the network settings to set up my network. To do that, I want to go to settings. And you can go to settings either by pressing all apps and going to the settings as gear icon. Or the second option is to press on this arrow button, press on this gear and wrench icon, and click on this gear one right here. So clicking on this gear will enter in the Wi-Fi settings. So now I can go to network, which is the very first one there. So I got 2 different ways to connect, either through Wi-Fi or through Ethernet. So earlier I had, in the back you saw I had it plugged in through Ethernet, so that's why I have that enabled. But if I want to do Wi-Fi, I would just press this, and then I would tap this to make sure to turn the Wi-Fi on. you got to make sure you have the dongle plugged into the back of the panel into the Android OS to have that dongle enabled. But if I have it on, I could just select it here. And then I would just select that same network I did. So that would be this one right here. I have a hard line, so I don't need to worry about that. But this is just how you would connect to it. I actually go over it also in the guided tour as well, so you can follow that along. And then I just go to Sphere 2, which is the application for our document cameras to connect to the panel. And I see right away this doc cam that I've just connected, the S70W. I press start now. You can see a preview. So here I got that F70W I just connected to the network. So here you can see it's completely wireless. I'm moving around, and let's put some stuff underneath for underneath the doc cam for my classroom. So this is completely wireless. I'll go ahead and turn this little thing on. And you can see how useful this would be in a classroom setting when you're a teacher and you're moving, from desk to desk, showing off the students' work to the rest of the classroom. So we gotta kind of give you and provide the whole classroom solution with our interactive flat panels, document cameras, and charging solutions for all your classroom devices. This is our S70W connected to our panel, and even though it's live streaming, you can see that it has really good quality, really good frame rate for being completely wireless. So you can see the electrons, this electronic globe, going into my fingers really well. And then I can even do my annotations either with my finger or with the included pens that we give you as well. And it does support multi-touch as well. So if you're wondering if it works with multi-touch, it does. I can change my color first. So I'll change it to a red so you can see a little better. And then I can use 10-point touch. That's the max amount of number it supports. 10 points of touch. And then I could take a snapshot of this image. So I'm taking a snapshot and saving it. And then I can even adjust the camera settings through the software itself. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of erase this stuff, these annotations I made. And then watch, I can even change the camera settings through this app. So I can digitally zoom in and out like this. I can even pan and rotate the image, flip it upside down if I want, or depending on how my doc cam is positioned. And I can even pause it and freeze a frame. So you can see that the globe thing, the electric stopped moving because I pause it, but then I can resume it very easily just like that. So tons of different options and applications you have with this combo and set that we provide to you. And this is just really basic setup webinar training that I wanted to go over with, just because a couple of you have asked me how to set it up, how to get it started. And I hope you guys learned a little bit from this session. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be sending you all a follow-up email after this, as well as a link to the new guided tour I just finished and completed. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have and enjoy the rest of your day.